Welcome back to McNulty's Book Corral. I am your host, Thomas Patrick McNulty, son of an Ulsterman. Some of you may be familiar with that lineage. I am not from Ireland. I was born in the United States. My descendants were Irish, quite obviously. With the name Thomas Patrick McNulty, you can't escape who you are. And I embrace that, and I've embraced it a long time ago. And I'm also Scottish. I have actually, if you look at my DNA, I'm more Scottish than Irish. I have those branches of the genealogy tract. I've been putting together the McNultys and the Grants and the Langs for a very long time. I have a lot of information. I want to finish up celebrating St. Patrick's Day. I mentioned that in the last episode about Maeve Brennan, that great, wonderful Irish writer. I do hope you enjoyed that episode. She was quite a remarkable talent. I have quite a lot of information and interest in, obviously, Ireland and Irish writers that I've read for many years. Today is going to be a simple episode. I want to talk about Frank Delaney. Frank Delaney was born in 1942. He died in 2017. He wrote many, many fine books. I'm going to show you one main book I think I'm going to recommend. Then I encourage you to go to Amazon, not Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is I don't like Wikipedia. I think it's a biased organization, and they only do certain things depending on how much coin is being put into their pockets. Anyways, I think if you go to Amazon and find Frank Delaney, you'll find a wealth of books to choose from relating to Ireland. He is a superb writer. Today we're going to talk about a book called Ireland, which is here, and he's done a series of books about Ireland, and it would just start here. This is a perfect place to start. This is about Ronan O'Mara, who has a visitor come to his home when he's a lad, and that visitor tells stories, and he's teaching the art of storytelling to young Ronan, and it's a good thick book. I never lost interest on one page. Now, I'm a non-critical reader. I think that's, I just coined a phrase. I didn't really, but I'm a reader who's seldom critical. Once I enjoy something, I like to enjoy it wholly without inhibitions and anything attached to it. I just enjoy it for what it is. That's a skill level you have to develop on your own. I can't help you with that one. And Ireland is such a book. Loved every bit of it. When was this book published? I think this book was published in 2,000 years ago. I'm just kidding. This is the 2008 edition, published in 2005. So it's not that old. Frank Delaney's gone now. If you're going to read Frank Delaney, this is my recommendation. Read this. This is a remarkable book. It involves history. It involves storytelling. It involves learning history, the lessons of history, the moral lessons of life. It involves creativity. It involves mysteries. Who is the storyteller? He seeks to find out later throughout the book. Not really dramatically at the end, but he comes to a satisfactory conclusion. He meets this man who comes to the house for 3 days, and then he's on his way, and then time goes on. Ronan O'Mara wants to learn more about this man, so he searches. It's constantly surprising and enlightening. And I really don't think you need anything more from me in regards to that. I think that's enough. I think you can go on to Amazon and read the reviews. I just wanted to get it in because I love Frank Delaney so much, and his books mean so much to me, and I hadn't covered him before. So this is highly recommended from me, as are all of his books. Interesting side note. There's another book relating to this that I want to talk about. So way back in 1999, I bought this book, The Curse of Treasure Island. It was written by Francis Bryan, and this is the first edition hardcover. I think it had a slightly different title in the UK. I think in the UK it was titled Jim Hawkins and The Curse of Treasure Island or whatever. There are a lot of sequels to Treasure Island on the market. This one was one I kept. It's the only one I've ever kept. So what does that tell you? if you know of a sequel to Treasure Island, that's good. I mean, that's one of my favorite books. I have it right over there in between bookmarks on my desk from my childhood because it's a book I've always loved, and the Disney film as well. Anyways, if you know of one, let me know. I loved it, so I kept it without knowing that Francis Bryan was a pen name for Frank Delaney. How odd is that? I didn't know until after Frank Delaney died. Somehow this slipped under my radar that he wrote this book that I'd had over here in a different room, on a bookcase. I treasured it all these years, no pun intended, The Curse of Treasure Island. And Frank Delaney, who's on a different shelf, wrote it. So here's some trivia for you. I believe this book is still in print. The Curse of Treasure Island by Francis Bryan, who was really Frank Delaney. Fantastic piece of fiction here. A worthy sequel to Robert Louis Stevenson's magnificent classic. And I just think that you should give it... I love the cover. The cover painting is beautiful. And anyways, just wanted to get that in there because I had this in my collection for years, obviously, for a couple decades, published in '99, and a worthy sequel to Treasure Island, if ever there was one. I'm sorry, this was 2001. I don't know where I got the idea that it was 1999. 2001 this was published. First published in 2002 in the American edition by Viking and Penguin. My apologies, I gave you the wrong date. Yes, originally published in Great Britain as Jim Hawkins and the Curse of Treasure Island. And here it is, a great sequel to Treasure Island, written under a pen name by the great Frank Delaney. How cool is that? Bless his Celtic soul. So I wanted to get that in. In the previous episode on Maeve Brennan, I talked about the biography of her by Angela Bourke. And in that episode, I mentioned I would be covering another book by Angela Bourke. And this is her first book. It's called The Burning of Bridget Cleary. It is also nonfiction about a murder. And maybe this is the one that was published in '99. I confused the hell out of myself. Yes, this is the one. Sorry, folks. And that without a pint in my hand, Anyways, yes, there you go. Angela Bourke. So here is the story here. This is a very complex and fascinating true story of a horrific murder. It takes place obviously in Ireland, and Bridget Cleary was married to Michael Cleary, and it takes place between March and July of 1895, and it tells the story of how he came to murder her. He came to murder his wife. The circumstances are what makes it fascinating. It's not just evil happening. Michael Cleary was a victim of cultural circumstances, political circumstances that put him into a situation that was less than appealing financially, under a lot of stress. There's references in here relating to Bridget Cleary and the belief in fairies, the little people. That is not unusual to this day. There are people that believe. I've talked to people in Scotland that believe in the little people. You can make of that what you will. I don't tell anybody they're wrong about anything in life. I try to learn from what people tell me. So anyways, Bridget Cleary became ill. I'm giving you a very brief rundown on this very complex book. All of these cultural factors are at play, and when she becomes ill, he kills her, and I'm just giving you the short version. There's no mystery about what happens to her, right? He burns her in their family fireplace in their small little house. It's the circumstances leading up to this horrific act, and what happens afterward too. He's found guilty and all that. They find the body. He buries it. It's how we get there. It's a classic tale of mystery explained by an anthropologist, a fine writer. By the way, Angela Bourke is still with us. She's out there, and I believe she's in Dublin. So these two books, the one on Maeve Brennan, and this was her first book, are the only two I have. She's done some other things. I don't think she's written any other nonfiction that's readily available on the market. But truly a fine writer. And this book is illustrated, and it has the pictures of Michael Cleary, the murderer, are rather haunting, aren't they? What a face! But again, did he do the wrong thing? Was he evil? In a way, yes. Obviously, he killed a woman. That's evil. But it's these other cultural circumstances that she talks about that make this book a fascinating read. Angela Bourke is a fine writer of nonfiction. The two books I read, the one on Maeve Brennan and this one, and I'd recommend you read those two books if you're interested in some Irish history and some nonfiction that will keep you spellbound. And that wraps up, my friends. That's going to wrap up my celebration of St. Patrick's Day. We're gonna head on out. By the way, I've never been to Ireland yet. We have that trip planned. It's in the planning stages now. It won't happen this year. I will be in Scotland later this year. And there will be episodes filmed there. And some fascinating things are going to be going on here at McNulty's Book Corral. But until then, my friends, I wish you great peace and happiness. I've had a lot of interesting people talk to me. Booktubers have sent me private messages in this effort to improve this channel and try and do things in a better manner. I sincerely thank you for all of your kindness. It makes the world a brighter place when we do that for each other. Until next time, stay well, stay happy, feed your brain, read a book.